You're listening to End of the Reel.
Oh my god!
And we are back doing the last episode, the last installment of Twilight.
The final Twilight movie.
Finally, we have done it. We have reached all of Twilight.
I've been
Ethan,
looking
how do you feel
forward
about
to
it?
being able to watch other movies
Yeah?
for so long now.
Why?
These have been painful.
I-
It's hard to put into words exactly how I feel about these movies.
You say that, but we've done
They're
four
very unpleasant to
four
watch.
podcast episodes on this. Where all we
where
do,
I've just been bitching about it. The
all you
entire
do
time.
is been putting this into words.
I think I enjoyed this a lot less than you seem to.
I
You were watching these and going, yeah, bits of it are good.
last night I got a nice gin and tonic.
Now,
And I was drinking it, and I was watching Twilight, and I was really enjoying this episode because it wasn't Twilight. This movie, I was watching a Lord of the Rings movie.
Bella. Now
Lord
that
of the
I tell
Rings.
you, now that Bella is a vampire, she
Mhm.
is so much more normal.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
actually
Oh,
acting
yeah.
like she's alive for the first time.
She's so
Well,
normal. What the hell?
I said her acting improved. Well, she was acting more human in the last
Mhm.
one, a bit more. Yeah, before she became a walking skeleton.
Yes.
In this one, she's like a normal girl almost, like
yeah,
a human.
with superpowers.
Even Edward's improved.
Yeah,
he
she's
I saw
totally
him
cool.
smile.
Right?
He seemed to be joking around with the other vampires.
Jacob's still a shit, but Jacob's not in it much.
Jacob is
He's
very creepy.
But he's not in it much, so that's where we get a better thing.
At
with
least
Jacob.
he's not psychotically saying he's going to kill people, but he's just gone. He's gone off the deep creep end, man.
Yeah, because he just hangs around a baby, and I was looking that up. Okay, so let's get rid of this. I was trying
the
to figure it out.
imprinting thing on Rene. Oh, okay, that's another thing. Renesmee. What a
Ugh.
terrible name. Esme is a name.
Uh-huh.
Renee is a name. Renesmee.
Yep.
Was it meant to be after her grandfather or something, or Jacob's grandfather? I can't remember.
I don't
I
know.
remember there was a whole naming scene in the last one. The boy's name was even worse.
Yeah, the boy's name was
She
shit.
wanted to call him like Jacob Edwards or something.
What a dumb.
After two men who seemed to be obsessed with
But it wasn't in this movie. What
No.
we get in this movie.
me. Okay, there was the one bit I
Mhm.
kind of chortled at with the
What?
name. After she finds out that because she comes back to life and Edward and her don't give a shit about the kid.
Mhm.
Although finally she's like, "Oh, yeah, what happened to the baby? Is that thing still around?" Anyway, they take it out to her, and she finds out that Jacob's imprinted on it
Yes.
and has nicknamed it Nesme.
Yeah.
Nessie. And she's like, "You nicknamed my kid after the fucking Loch Ness monster?" And I was like, it's kind of funny.
Dude, she was great in this film.
Okay, no. So she's not great in this film.
Great in this film.
She is better than in the other films.
Yeah, made her great
I
compared
think
to the other films.
this film was more enjoyable than the other films.
It goes this film where
it's
she's
still
not like
terrible.
Bella.
It's really
then it
still
goes the other
terrible.
film where she's a lifeless husk, and then the other three, which is
It's 'cause
just
all
the
the-
depressed teenager.
It's because the love story really takes a backseat in this one.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
the
which is
weird
great.
Venturi vampire
All the shit I
werewolf
wanted.
stuff.
The shit I wanted. The entire time, I was like, I like this
You
stuff.
just wanted to watch Underworld.
That's why this movie. Yeah, I did. I like
Yeah.
Underworld. It's
Yeah.
great. But yeah, it's like with all the other films, I was always like, I prefer the other stuff going on. Finally, they did that, and that's why this film's not rated that. I mean, let's be honest, they're all not rated really highly.
This movie should not have been 2 hours though.
No, it's padded.
I don't know. Maybe it was part of the contract or something. For some reason, all the movies seem to have to be 2 hours long,
Yeah.
and in this movie, they clearly ran out of material.
So with the
Because
imprinting,
at the end, there's 15 minutes of credits.
all right. So I looked up the imprinting, and people were debating everywhere with how it worked. Okay.
Because it is not explained in the movie.
It kind of is explained in the books. All right. So
Yeah,
apparently,
but it's got Jacob ranting about it, and he is not what you'd call like a reliable narrator.
you imprint, not it's involuntary.
Yeah.
On who Jacob gets the imprint on, right? And
He
that- so
sees someone, it sets off the imprint thing, and he's like,
Yeah.
that's the one.
and sometimes it'll be for other multiple reasons why he'll imprint, right?
Yeah.
And then the thing is though, then that's a bit, so that's like he's sort of more enslaved to her, but then it gets sussy because people were a bit unsure about this one. Yeah, it doesn't actually make her or them return the feelings, but it does.
Well, I'm
That's what
guessing if
people
you've
would
got a guy
say.
who's like literally obsessed with you all the time,
He's a nice
maybe that's
guy.
an attractive thing for some
Nah, a
people.
nice guy. He's a nice guy incel. That's what he is. But apparently, that, according to this book, then of course she's gonna fall in love with him because he knows her every whim.
Because
Because he's a fucking stalker.
at first, when Bella finds out that he's imprinted on her,
Mm-hmm.
she fucking loses it at him, and fair enough.
Yeah.
She throws him out of the house. Is like, what do you mean you're trying to fuck my
What-
baby
yeah,
daughter?
Exactly. That's quite a
And the
reasonable
vampires
excuse.
just watch on like, finally, we're throwing this guy out of the house.
Yeah, we hate this
2
dog.
seconds later, they just let him in again.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's this
It's-
movie.
it's-
That's how the things happen. Thing come up, straight away answer, thing gone.
It's really weird as well the way they introduced the baby and Jacob.
Yeah.
Because Bella dies at the end of the last one, then she
Yep.
comes back to life, so she hasn't met the baby before.
That was great. She comes back to life,
And she's like, I want to see my baby.
sees the baby,
Jacob is like, no, I don't think it's time. You're not allowed to see your baby yet.
ditches the baby pretty quick.
I don't
She
know,
does.
but after she meets the baby the 1st
Uh-huh.
time, Jacob is literally trying to take the baby away from the vampires.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And they're like, just fuck off, Jacob.
Jacob,
You're
fuck
being
off.
so weird. Even he goes like, oh, don't worry. It's not about it. It's not a sex thing. I just need to be around your daughter all the time.
Yeah. But it's
Also,
not-
only I can touch her.
it's not like she wanted the baby.
No, it was a surprise, that's for sure.
I mean, what I
She's
was
an
saying is like,
18-year-old with a kid and a husband.
right, okay, so she's
A
an
much
18-year-old.
older husband.
She's 18 years old. She's got a much older husband. She's ditched her family. She's ditched her friends.
Not that her mother seems to care too
her mother
much.
didn't.
Her mother
showed
disappears
up in
from the movie in this one.
But it's a really bad combination of traits that makes up Bella when you think about it.
Yeah.
And it's like her life is all based off this one guy. And then even the kid, she doesn't even really care about the kid because it's like, yeah, she cares a little bit. Like, you named her Nessie. But then it's like, straight away, they're like, okay, I'm going off with Edward now to our house. and I'm
The
just gonna
blonde
fuck
vampire.
her.
You know what? I felt good for the blonde vampire who just wanted a kid the whole time because she was just hanging out holding the baby.
Yeah, but for some reason, that kid rapidly aged. Like,
Because
don't
she's
know.
she's a vampire hybrid.
they just skipped
She is a
everything.
human vampire hybrid.
How much did they skip with that kid? They skipped everything.
What do you mean?
Because
There wasn't anything to
I
have.
don't know how long. They
The-
didn't even
you know
teach
what?
a kid.
I'm happy because if I saw that creepy 3D fucking face again, I would have
Oh,
screamed.
I forgot.
It was
I
so
forgot
goddamn terrifying.
The 3D face, the CGI face on the kid.
They
on
had
the baby.
I was trying to figure out
Horrifying.
why they did this. I think
Uh-huh.
they had an actor for her that they wanted at the end,
Yes.
but the end actor is like maybe 12.
Yes.
So she starts off as a baby and she's got to age 12, but they don't want her to look too different. So they're constantly instead of like getting a kid that looks the same at each stage that
They
they've
just
got the kid,
CGI the face.
they've just got kids at the different like age groups and CGI'd the face on,
No, that's straight
and
up
it looks
weird.
so bad.
That's crazy because
It's terrifying. Just don't show the kid.
I don't understand why you would do it for a infant.
Yeah,
Because an infant, they grow up, they look different.
it wouldn't be too bad if you only saw the baby a couple of times, but
Oh, but they
there's
keep showing
there's
the
long
infant's face.
shots in the start of the movie
Why would
where
you do
the
it?
baby
Seriously,
is shown
why?
in close up.
Just why?
It doesn't work at all. It's so terrifying.
It looks terrible.
No wonder. So what happens is this blonde vampire who was in the last one, who's sort of a good vampire, but she was in love with the black vampire who died
That guy,
in the
yeah.
second movie.
Yeah.
They-
Dreadlocks vampire.
Yeah, yeah. She sort of hates the wolves and is out it for revenge against the Cullens. She sees the kid and obviously
No, she
realizes
was
it's
coming
an
back
abomination.
She was coming back to apologize.
Yeah, but she sees the abomination
Yeah.
and is like,
Oh yeah.
we've got to kill this thing.
So,
this is terrible.
If you turn a child when it's child,
So much stuff is introduced into this film.
yeah, I know.
I think like
But-
half of this film is introducing characters or giving backstory.
But we do get the best scene in the entire.
You love
series.
this thing.
Oh, it's great.
It
so-
looks terrible.
No,
Everything looks
no.
so goofy in
You're
this
just-
film.
You gotta enjoy these movies, man.
I can't enjoy
you're
this
a
film.
big sook. So, get to this film.
I'm sorry I didn't cry at the end, Jared.
It was great. This film. We get a flashback about why you don't actually turn children, and like, yes, this is lore taken from other places too. It's all cool, whatever. I don't give a shit at this point. Anyway, so the thing is, a child's mentality that it's also not gonna maturity is not gonna age with
It
it.
stunts them and they go weird because
Yeah.
they've got the thirst thing, but then it never ends.
Yeah.
So they're constantly just killing people.
Wait a minute. In Vampire, what's it called?
What?
The one with Tom Cruise and
Diaries of a Vampire?
the child
Vampire?
does age mature. It does mature.
Yeah, but only a brain. She's stuck as a little girl.
Oh
That's
yeah.
what sends her nuts.
But in this one, it's like you are stuck, like physically and mentally,
Yeah.
which is why it's like,
But
oh
also
yeah,
they're
you can't
stuck in
explain
the
to the
they're
kid.
stuck in the thirst thing, so they're constantly wanting to kill people.
I think it's just because they don't mature, they can't think, oh, I should stop.
I don't know.
You know,
Look,
because
it's
a
not
little
really
kid.
explained that
It's
much.
like a little kid in
They're
a candy store.
demon abomination things that just
Yeah.
go around killing everything.
It's great, but
They're-
the
they're-
the girl picks one up, looks at it, and then just chucks it into the fire. And I was like, that's where that gift
well,
has
they
come
kill
from.
the kid's mom as well.
Who
because
cares about that? That's not funny.
No, but it's connected with the rest of the film because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they are the Cullens' cousins, the
Yes.
friendly vampires who turn up later,
Yes.
which is why one of them sees the kid and thinks that they've created an abomination and
Yeah.
goes to tell the Venturi.
Yeah, and it's great. We have some great scenes there. And then we cut back. Let's see. So for some reason, Edward and Bella get a house to themselves.
Because the other vampires don't want to live with them.
Yeah, that understandable. I think they could you imagine hanging out with Edward?
And Bella
No, could you just Edward alone for like centuries?
is a sad sack.
Like the other, you know,
he
the jock
stands
guy.
around brooding. Oh,
Well-
no, actually, he seemed a lot nicer in this film.
He did. He seemed a lot better. But yeah, they for some reason get their own house. They go off and have sex.
Yeah, that's probably why they gave him their own house.
Yeah, I think it
Like,
was.
even, I think they have a little conversation where it's like, oh, yeah, the other couple were, like, insufferable for, like, 5 years.
They have a thing where they run around and she smells a rock climber guy.
But
She
she's
runs up.
she's pretty strong, so
Yeah.
the blood thing doesn't really bother her. Everyone's like, yeah, you turned out you're a great vampire.
Yeah.
You were made for this.
Just
and he's like,
Straight away.
well, maybe if you just turned me in the first place, we wouldn't be having
none
any of
this
these
would've happened,
problems.
Yeah. She also catches a cougar, a mountain lion, or whatever it is, in midair, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
She just starts drinking it.
Okay.
I don't think Peter would appreciate that very much. That scene.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. Or most of these
Yeah.
movies.
Let the humans die, but not the animals. Is what they would say.
Anyway,
Yep.
speaking of Goofy, did you see her run up the mountain? Come on,
Yeah, it was great.
there are some terrible
The
looking stuff in
running
this
somehow
film.
we went
Also,
backwards
the
with the
wolves
running.
have not improved since the first movie. The
Nah, it
budget
looks
has gone
fine.
up, but the wolves have not improved at all.
It
Like you'd
looks
expect them to
fine.
improve a little bit.
Looks fine.
It starts to show that the rest of the film is like being filmed better, but the wolves look exactly the same.
Yeah, look, the wolves just did the wolves things. Apparently, lots of wolves are changing. So what happens is the Venturi are on the way because of that cousin.
Yeah, so thankfully Alice, who sees the future, which is going to be a pretty handy trait, really, she realizes that they're going to lose unless she does
Does
some
she?
things. Yeah, she does plan it all out pretty well.
Yeah, yeah.
She she sets some things in motion. The Cullens decide that they have to get their allies together.
But what note does she leave? A note that only Bella would know because it's written on the Merchant of Venice.
Yeah, and it's her book apparently.
Oh my god.
And
Shakespeare, give it a break. We get it. You think you're a good author.
I think-
Stop.
Well, I'm trying to remember because I remember reading The Merchant of Venice years ago.
A Jew's in it.
I remember Shylock, right?
Uh-huh. That's
So the
Jew.
Venturi is the Shylock. They're after their pound of flesh,
Okay.
which is secretly the Venturi don't give a shit about the
I
kid.
did really well on
They
Merchant of
just
Venice.
want Alice and Edward because the main Venturi guy, he collects vampires with powers. Like, because only
Mhm.
some of the vampires have powers. I figured that
Yes.
out. Okay.
Yeah.
Only some of the vampires have powers. He wants Edward and Alice, but they won't join him.
Mhm.
So he's going to use this as an excuse to kill the rest of the Cullens and just take them.
Yes.
So I vaguely remember Merchant of Venice. They run away and then they come back at the 11th hour and save the guy from getting cut up, which is
Mhm.
basically what happens.
Yes.
Because
Do they do that in Merchant of Venice?
I can't remember. I remember it being a weird play and that it's very anti-Semitic, but then there's the one good speech Sherlock has, then he goes back to wanting to cut their flesh out.
No, that's a joke on them still.
Whatever. Like,
It's a comedy.
I-
and it's a shit one.
Is it?
I don't
I
like
don't
Merchant
know.
of Venice very
Okay,
much.
okay. Anyway, let's not get into this because again, I don't remember it very well.
Dude, I do not
So
get
in
that.
the film,
Wait, that's actually meant to be a comedy. That one.
is it?
Yeah.
I think it's a romance.
No, I'm pretty sure Merchant of Venice is comedy.
I don't remember it being.
I don't know.
Okay.
Whenever people do Shakespeare, they only see it as romance. It's really weird. A lot of his stuff was like meant to be like
You know,
quite
he
on
did
the nose
like
comedy.
50 of them.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying
I
like,
don't know where. Okay, look, can we
so
not
much
talk
of his
about
stuff
this?
is like on the nose comedy. And
Okay.
people take it so like
Yeah.
dramatic.
Okay. This is your weird Shakespeare thing.
No,
All right.
I like Shakespeare. I just think people are like a little
Okay.
you know,
Can we? Let's
elitist
talk
when
about the
it comes to
movie,
it.
Jared.
okay.
The
Well, this
crappy,
movie's
crappy
based off
movie.
it. We have to
I don't
talk
think
about
it's
it.
based off it. I think it tries to rip off plot from it.
Yeah, because
Anyway, so
she
Alice and
knows.
Jasper run away, and the Carlyles now
Well, they don't run away.
want to get
actually.
their well, they go off doing their own
Yeah.
thing. The Carlyles now have to gather up their allies. This triggers the 1 hour long montage of them going to different vampire groups
Yes.
and convincing them to join.
And
Occasionally seeing backstory or them just explaining the backstory.
how was it?
It's pretty
It was-
bad. I mean, it
wasn't
feels
good.
terrible.
You know the
Like you've
problem-
got Vampire who was in the Battle
The
for
war.
Independence and won't stop talking about
The
it.
problem is they
The sisters of the chick who betrayed them.
yeah, yeah.
2 brunettes who
Dude,
we
I
don't hear
don't
anything
care.
about. There's the family. Yeah, but that's it. That's
No,
it. That's
But
an
let's
hour
get to
of the
why
film.
why it's shit. The way they do it is it literally is. Here's the scene of them walking up. 1 line of introduction of them. Next thing. Here's the scene of them walking up. 1 line of introduction.
Well, thank God. It turns out the little girl, her whole her power is just plot contrivance. She
What the
touches them,
fuck?
and they instantly realize that she's just a normal kid
That
and
was
not an
weird.
abomination.
That was weird as hell.
Yeah.
That looked more like mind control.
I don't know, no, because it's just convincing them that she is like a human or half human hybrid thing. I did like the whole way through. They keep going, this has never happened before. We don't know what's going to happen. What she is,
Yeah.
which makes the ending hilarious.
How about how everyone who is from a tribe sort of people
I don't want to
always turn up
we're
wearing
being a
tribal clothing, but then anyone who's like not from what I would say per se tribe like background always turn up wearing modern clothing, no matter how fucking old they are.
No, you know what?
the
all,
tribe people apparently.
all of them came in different clothes, Jared. The English guy is still wearing like old trench coats and stuff
Is
from
he?
the Independence. The Egyptian ones are still wearing their Egyptian robes and stuff.
No.
Yes.
Were they?
Go back and watch it.
Are you sure?
I agree. I agree with you to a point. It's like when
I'm
when
just
they've
saying,
come
like,
to America,
the Amazon women are like Amazon tribe women.
full on painted and stuff.
They always have
At
like
some point, you got to put on regular winter clothes.
it's so
I mean,
it's
they must
so
have been cold.
the way she writes it, it's so like.
But
on
it's
the,
to make. I think it's to make them stand out. It's like you've got the Cullens and their crew, and they're like this big diverse group.
yeah.
And then on the other side, when the Venturi do turn up, they're all pale, wearing black hoods.
Oh,
You're like you can't even see their faces.
Oh yeah, no, I get
Which
that. but
makes
I'm
sense
just saying,
because
like,
apparently most of them are shit.
the way she writes them, it's like okay, so if you're right about the English and all the other ones, then it's like from England, therefore he fought in the England.
no,
like,
no,
you know
no,
what
he's
I mean?
not
Like,
from it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like they're so like from Ireland, therefore he fought in the Irish Independence War.
Oh
and,
my god, when they were
it's
going
like-
about that.
and he loves potato. Like it's the most every single one. It's like a super
There's
stereotype of like
stereotypes. Yeah.
Amazon women, are Amazon Brazilians, Brazil.
The
Actually, Brazilian one
Romanian
was,
vampires are hilarious.
the
though.
Romanians
They
turn
were
up.
funny as hell.
They were great.
That
yeah.
that was interesting to me because it hinted that there was like more lore to this world
Dude,
that we
I
aren't
know.
hearing.
But you know what? It's just that she's writing from another book.
Yeah.
She's taking shit.
Someone was like, "Hey, what about like Dracula and all that?" There were actually Romanian ones.
What about though? You know how it's like Jacob imprinted on the girl.
Ugh.
I looked
And we're
this up.
constantly seeing
It
flash
took me a while
forwards
to look
of
it up.
them living together and
Yes,
stuff.
Cool.
What
I
about
looked
at
it
the
up.
end when he goes up to
Wait, wait.
Edward? What's Jacob's final line to Edward?
I'm gonna fuck your daughter.
Guess I'll have to start calling you Dad.
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, and he's licking his lips while
Oh.
he's saying it, and look at the little girl.
Oh, that was so weird. Okay, so talking about that though, you might be like, but do the werewolves age?
Yeah,
This-
I was so confused by that. I
It-
have no idea
It took me a while to look it up because it seemed like a lot of people couldn't come
because
to
it's not
agreement.
mentioned in the movie at all.
And it in
Like
the
none
book,
of the
it's quite
none of the werewolves are over 25ish.
I got to some threads on the book, and people were saying, "Oh, there's a law on the book. There's like a special book written of the law or something like that." I don't know.
Okay.
I do
Okay.
not know. People.
I always like
It
things
got
like that.
it got
you
like
know.
really messy. People were not in agreement, and there was all this different. So this
That's
is
the problem because she comes up with the plot.
I think
the
she wrote
law's
this
really
later.
just to fill in things. at
she
the
wrote
end.
this later to make
Yeah.
to make it all a fairy tale ending though. So this kind of wrecks it because it's
The most. This thing has the most fairy tale end
she
ever.
specifically wrote this bit like
Mhm.
afterwards when everyone was asking to make a fairy tale-ish ending because it doesn't make sense to why like
So
the other
So
Indian
the werewolves
chieftains were dying.
are immortal.
Yes and no.
Okay.
The werewolves can choose to age. So what the thing is the werewolf, as long as you are someone who is still deciding to change into a werewolf,
Yeah.
as long as you're still doing that, you don't age.
Do they lose the ability to do that?
No, I didn't see
Because
anyone
they
saying that.
because turning into a werewolf isn't voluntary. Some of them because it even
Magic
shows in
makes
this
them
one.
turn
Some of them
into
just phase by themselves.
Magic can make them turn, make more of them turn.
So is the reason we don't see any like really old ones because they let themselves die because they're bored of living on a reservation?
I think.
They just get bored and die.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Or is Sam like actually 400 years old or
I
something?
don't know. But
We don't actually.
From
We
what
don't
people
learn
were saying,
any of
though,
the backstories about any of the other werewolves apart from like
it
a
did seem
little
like
bit.
it was written in post.
yeah.
So it's just a fairy tale ending to make it be like, oh, he can live with her forever, instead of being
Everyone
like,
gets
oh,
a
she
fairy
dies.
tale ending in this movie. Even Charlie, the poor granddad, gets to go on a trip with his new love.
Oh my god, right? He just totally.
Someone
gets it.
who actually pays attention to him and doesn't treat him like shit.
We'll just say
finally.
he gets treated like shit again, and then they just send him off.
You know what I love? Okay, Charlie is hands down my favorite character.
Nah, I like the evil
Hands
vampire.
down. Oh yeah, no, I like him too.
He's good.
But
He's
the-
actually good.
So the dad is like, "Where the fuck is my daughter?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
They finally go, "Oh, she's here, but she has to stay away from you now, and we've adopted our niece." He turns up and is like, "Yeah, this is my fucking niece. Okay, I don't understand what's happening,
Yeah.
but I realize you're all lying to me and
oh
something
my
weird
God.
is happening."
Wait,
The Jacob thing.
the Jacob thing.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I forgot. Jacob finds him in the woods, and he's cutting wood, right?
So, well,
I
we've
mean,
got to explain why he does
euphemism,
this.
right? Cutting wood.
So
Am I right?
Bella's afraid that she's going to kill people.
Yes.
Also, everyone in town's going to recognize Bella, so they're like, "Well, we'll have to go somewhere else."
Yep.
Jacob throws a fucking hissy fit because that means he won't be able to stay around
So
touching
everyone
the
else
baby.
is in agreement here too with what to do.
This is
except for
really the
Jacob.
best thing to do.
So Jacob wrecks everything.
Jacob immediately goes to the dad
Right. While the dad's cutting wood.
and starts stripping off in front of him, telling
Yeah.
him that the world's bigger than he realizes and that he just has to do what he
It
has
was
to do.
straight up like a gay porno start.
Yeah.
That's what it 100%. It's just him oiled up, and he even was like, "I know this might look kind of weird," and he's like, "But I need to show you," and he's like getting fully naked, and he's just like, "Oh, Jacob, put back on your clothes."
Anyway, he finally transforms. Also, in every other transformation, they just leave the clothes on. They just wanted a scene with Jacob stripping
Just Jacob. Yeah, you're right.
because there were a lot fewer shirtless werewolves in this one.
Was he like the only one?
Most of the werewolves were wearing clothes.
Yeah, maybe they got sick of it.
Again, this is the best movie out of the 5.
Well, for us.
Yeah, for me anyway.
I feel like if you're wanting like Edward and Bella drama, this is the worst film. Because it doesn't.
no,
it's
they
not-
all they just get a happy ending. That's
Yeah,
it. It's,
yeah, I know,
everyone
but
just gets a
it's got
happy
huge
ending,
battle, all this stuff.
which
Alright.
everyone gets a happy ending from.
So they essentially just send him away, though.
The dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting everyone out of the picture.
Yeah.
So basically, that's the
Um,
film. They assemble their crew. They go
okay.
on about how they're different stereotypes.
We get to the battle. Oh, also Sammy Ramick. What's his name?
M-
Randy
now
Malik.
Rami Malek. Yeah,
Rami Malek.
literally the Avatar.
He is the Avatar,
Yeah.
except he sucks.
No, okay, I'm gonna
No,
say
he sucks.
a lot of that has to do with the fact that the effects in this movie are shit.
Most disappointing battle ever with him.
The chick who can control lightning does a little taser
Oh
animation.
my god.
It's pretty.
Why didn't they plan how to fight the Venturi? So anyway, they go to meet the Venturi, sorry, and they're
Well,
way
Alice
outnumbered.
has. Alice knows exactly what she's doing.
Okay, but can I say though, they go to fight the Venturi. Of course, the werewolves on the side. Some of them have come across with them, And
There are a bunch more werewolves now because of all the vampires around it changing more of them.
so the thing is, though, there's way more Venturi, right?
Yeah, there's a huge. They've got an army.
Okay. Now, they don't know that they have like the Avatar dude and all these people who can do stuff, right?
Yeah.
So they don't know. Like the Avatar's thing is he can like bend the elements, which is sick. So he is clearly OP'd, right? The thing is, though, it just kills me that they didn't use him in a useful way.
Oh, you mean how he just opens up a giant chasm to the center of the earth halfway through the battle,
Probably about the worst thing he could possibly do for both of
killing
the
most
sides.
of the both sides.
Kills more both sides.
We should explain why they're fighting. So the Venturi aren't. So they're coming there, and they've rallied an army because they say they're going to end the abomination because they think it's like one of the special children.
Yeah.
They get there and they're like, it's not. But the Venturi aren't really interested in that. They just want the powerful people on their side. So they're like, we're going to go have this war anyway. The evil guy does his evil speech about, well, we can't really trust it. We don't know if it'll be good or not.
Yep.
So that's the big main motivation for why they're fighting now.
Yep. But it just kills me that Rami Malek didn't like they. Okay, because
Yeah, I
'cause they're
kept
so
waiting for
outnumbered.
him
What I'm
because
saying is-
they go on about how fire is what kills the vampires. So I spent the entire battle waiting for him to light someone on fire.
yeah, and he never did.
No.
What I'm saying is though, it would have made so much more sense if they're like, yeah, cool, they're outnumbered like 10-1, right?
Yeah.
Straight away at the very start, what would have been cool is if Rami Malek or the other ones had planned like well, he would have made sense so that he had like an ice covering the top, but there's all ice spikes underneath. So like the first like half,
I think they would have noticed.
how cool would have it been? No. Like you know the Venturi, they send forwards like the foot guards. They send
Yeah.
forwards them like in a charge.
Yeah, but
and
remember
then they all
at
fall
first
into
they-
spikes.
remember
That
they're
would have been a cool
trying-
start.
Remember they're all trying not to fight though.
But no,
They're
once they
because the
start
Cullens
fighting,
don't actually want to fight.
I'm saying once they start fighting, how cool would it have been? They go forwards and they fall into like, and then they're like, oh shit, and now it's like, they're still outnumbered, but it's like, oh, it's,
well, you're
you know,
talking
make it
about
more
this
realistic.
fight as if
It would've
as
been
if
cool.
it actually
it
happened,
would have been
Jared.
fucking.
So what
No,
actually happened?
How cool would have it been? Or fire,
Okay,
shooting fire
Jared,
down one side.
Go watch one of the
All
X-Men
I'm saying
films.
is make it be
That's
more
what you want.
realistic. Make it
You
be
just
more,
want to watch one of the X-Men
Make
films.
it be more like make sense instead of just. Why would you open up a chasm in the middle that hurts both sides?
Why don't you guys watch
It was
Avatar:
like
The
mutual
Last Airbender,
destruction is
Jared?
his decision.
Go watch Avatar: The Last Airbender.
He could have done anything.
That's what you want.
Rained fire from the sky.
Anyway, before the fight
God.
starts going off, they're bitching at each other.
Yeah.
Alice and Jasper turns up. So the main bad guy, his power is he can read. He reads all their memories. So Alice shows him a memory of basically what's going to happen because she
Yes.
knows no matter what they argue, the Venturi are going to attack because they aren't actually interested in the law anymore.
Right.
So that's when you get the battle scene.
Yes. Pretty cool.
Lots of fighting.
Actually, pretty good.
It's okay.
It's passable. Pretty
Again, it's 20 minutes in a
Mhm.
5 movies. It doesn't make up for shit.
Good. Oh
And-
no,
no,
not
even-
at all.
Yeah, okay, even as action goes, it's not very good. Like, it's
Yeah.
entertaining. It's interesting
it's
to
somewhat
watch.
entertaining. There's some nice bits, but yeah, they could have done better.
Okay. A giant chasm to the center of the earth gets
Ah,
opened up. Tons of them get
God.
thrown in.
so
Carlisle
stupid.
goes out like a bitch. Gonna say
Carlisle
it.
does. I hated the way Carlisle
That
went out.
was a little anticlimactic.
Massively anticlimactic.
The battle ends when Edward and Bella corner the main bad guy and rip his head off.
If I'll say, Carlisle definitely got the short end of the stick.
Oh,
he
yeah.
Went, he
He
went
was the
so
first
quick,
one to die.
and he sucked.
Anyway, the minute the bad guy dies, boom, back to where he's reading the memory because that's the memory she showed him
Of the future.
of the future. And it's like, so no matter how this turns out, lots of people on both sides are going to die and we're all going to lose. And so
Yeah.
he's like, well,
Okay.
yeah, he's like, okay, fine, I don't want to fight. A few of the Venturi are like, but what about the girl? You're right, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's when the Ace in the Hole comes in. This weird
Brazilian tribe
the
people.
Brazilian tribe guy comes in, and it's like you're in the middle of a North America. Put some clothes on.
No, they don't have blood. They don't feel. They're always cold anyway. So
But the
actually,
half-human guy has blood.
Huh? Oh. Oh yeah.
Okay, but no, but even just to blend in, like maybe the Venturi have a point. These guys aren't trying to blend in with the humans at all. They're trying to stand out like a goddamn sore thumb.
Yeah, true.
But so they walk up and they're like,
Maybe they're in a theme park.
one of the guys like, yeah, I'm actually a half
Half
vampire, half human, just like her. So it turns out the girl isn't special at all. You know, I actually like that because I was worried it was going to be like, oh, she's a chosen one sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It turns out it's just something that happens to vampires sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have sex with human women and this happens.
You'd have thought they would have known that. This
Well,
is
that's
what I was
it.
being
Alice did know
These-
it because she went down. She's like, the first thing Alice did was check if this has happened before, and she's like, oh, it has. I'll just go grab them.
It's just like it really feels like a lot of these vampires, they just don't know anything. They've been around for hundreds of years, and they just
Because
don't
they're
know
like
anything.
Edward, they sit in their bedroom brooding
Actually,
about
that
how
kinda makes-
terrible they are.
It sort of does make sense. The older vampires who come over, they're like, oh yes, the Venturi, they're like active and stuff, and they killed us off.
Yeah,
So they wanted to get revenge and stuff.
the Romanian ones. Yeah,
I won't lie, the Romanians were right. They were like, we should still kill them, and I'm
they
like, I
they
kinda
weren't
get
even
it.
interested in the kid. They just wanted your powers. We got to
Yeah.
kill them off.
I kind of do get. That's where, to me, it.
No, because that wouldn't have been okay.
I
Because
think the problem is
after they've
it's not
decided,
finished.
so they decide not to fight. The Venturi are like, we'll just leave.
yes,
And that's it. Happy endings all around. The Cullens are laughing and hugging each
No, it's a
other.
happy endings for the love
The
story.
werewolves are going all over the place laughing.
The problem is what I feel
Jacob's like
No, no,
clinging
no,
to
come
the
on.
kid and runs off into the forest with her.
Let's
Who
just
knows
say
what they're
straight up,
doing?
it's a happy ending for the love story. Yes,
Yeah.
but this other entire story of the Venturi, it's like literally halfway.
Who knows?
Those dudes are so right. They're like, but they'll be back. It's like they are 100% right.
Who cares, Jared? We're having happy endings
Where's
all
the
around.
other book?
I was
Where's the
trying to
other-
think.
We
It's
need
like
the other book where people are now realizing the Venturi are like doing
Jared,
that stuff.
then it wouldn't have been a fairy tale ending,
No,
Jared.
no, I know. It wouldn't be Twilight.
Okay,
It'd be
how many
the other
named
book.
characters, good guys, die in this film? Good
Cullen,
guys.
Cullen,
No,
Jasper.
no, 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 that
What?
weren't in a dream. The chief from the second movie,
Oh yeah.
that's it. It is like, that's it. That's it. No one else dies. Everyone else, that's what makes it a fairy tale ending. They have a giant battle and no one actually gets hurt.
There's a werewolf that does.
Blonde betrayer dies.
But she's
She was the betrayer and no one liked her.
more neutral.
Yeah, she died. Even the bad guys, it was just the three vampires you see at the start, and then unnamed goons from this third movie. That's it. None of the Venturi die.
The jock made it the whole way through.
Who did?
The jock,
Why did you always think that guy was going to die?
because he seemed like such an obvious pick to kill.
Because he was normal and nice.
Because he never really got. We never got his backstory. We never got anything like that. And we always got like he's always like, yeah, I like to fight, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna die.
We never learned about Carlisle's wife, I guess, got turned.
Carlisle's wife.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. We were talking about some of the other things. Okay, so that's basically it. They all have a happy ending. We fast forward and we see the future bit where Jacob is now living with the daughter, which isn't creepy at all.
Hmm.
And everyone has a happy ending. So we were talking about, after it finished, we were talking about some of the other things. It's like, Carlisle's a doctor. He spends his time being a doctor.
That's cool.
The others are school kids. Yeah, that takes up their day.
They do other
Fine.
things too, by the looks of it.
What does the wife do?
Dude, the wife doesn't do anything.
Does she just stay at home making
She's
the
a
house?
good wife. She's a good Mormon wife.
Okay.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Man, I'm trying to think other things. So now I'm just going to be nitpicking at certain things in this movie. Two
Mhm.
things. One thing that made me laugh. One of the main three Venturi in the flash forward, the dream that Alice shows him, gets attacked by the Romanian ones, gets killed, and as he's dying goes, finally.
Yeah, I know.
What was up with that?
I don't know. He looked depressed.
He looked depressed in every time we saw him.
Mhm.
I want to hear his backstory.
Oh yeah.
Everyone else is so much more
How about
interesting
when
than
we-
Bella and Edward.
Well, the problem is too, we get all these introductions of good and bad people stuff, right? Of all their powers, and honestly, apart from like Rami Malek,
Yeah.
and, like even the lightning chick, you see like a tiny lightning thing from her. You don't actually get to see them do anything. They don't even do anything.
They use their powers once and they die.
There's this dude who has like a weird shadow thing That
he has a gas that paralyzes and blinds whoever touches it.
So I think he was gonna send it off to all of them, but then he doesn't.
I think he only do one at a time.
Then he just dies. They all just die. Oh, there was a cool kill by a wolf. The pain chick.
But yeah, whatever. But yeah, the fight's okay.
Fight's okay.
But the other thing I was going to bring up, so when Cullen's bringing together his allies, he makes a big deal out of one who just turns up, and it's this blonde, bearded vampire guy who's just like a loner.
He doesn't like
He makes a big thing about being a loner. He's like, oh, I'll help you out, but I don't know about this. He leaves like halfway through the film. Just goes, and I'm like, what? What was all of that for? He has more lines than Edward does.
I don't remember him coming back.
No, he just disappears halfway through the film. We find out that Alice and Jasper have a human banker who organizes things for them.
What the fuck was that?
No, that was organizing passports for.
What the fuck was that?
For
Renesmee. I was watching that and I'm just like, dude, why did they need to hide that from Bella?
From the others? It's all part of Alice's plan.
What, so if they knew that she would come through with the Amazon dude and all that stuff?
I think she thought if the others knew, the other vampires would run away. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. There are a lot of things that are just confusing in this film because they aren't explained at all.
No, they're not. And they're just washed away or someone turns up. That's what what that dude turning up. It's just he turns up, problem solved. He literally walks out of the forest.
Leaves.
Turns up. Oh, no, we're great. Bye.
This movie was dying for actual content.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's 15 minutes of credits.
It should have been combined with the last film. Would have been way
better. Last film was awful. The last film was a lot worse than this one.
Anyway, that's Twilight. So we finally finished the saga.
What do you think of the saga overall?
It's crap.
It's shit.
Yeah, it's crap.
It's terrible.
I think
if you want to see vampires fighting werewolves, watch something like Van Helsing or something. Like that's crap, but at least it's entertaining.
Underworld.
Yeah, Underworld.
And the thing is too, if you want a love story, there are far better movies that do that.
Go watch Shakespeare.
And it really feels like I think the thing is too with this series.
It doesn't even have to be good. Like you don't even have to watch a good love story, but anything's better than this stuff.
No, I'll rate them too. Yeah. Okay, so I reckon the last one is kind of more interesting if you like battle stuff. Yes. So maybe the last one for action is number one. Then probably the first one, then maybe the second one. And then 3 and 4, they're the ones that you can just get rid of. They're just that's the problem. 3 out of the 5 movies, 2 of them you can just chuck away.
I cannot rate these movies because the last one was the only one that was slightly entertaining, and it was just a bad movie.
But the first one,
the others
had the
were
baseball
just
scene.
So bad.
No, see, the first one was like really hilariously bad. The second one was
I was sick of that movie.
Nah.
By the time it finished, I was See, this thing, I really didn't like the movie. You found things that were.
I just think it's not a worthwhile series because half of it, I would say at least, is just rubbish. Over half of the series is rubbish.
The love triangle thing is painful, and that goes for 4 movies.
3.
No, it only ends really when the baby is born, and Jacob decides he loves the baby.
Yeah, that's the problem. The love triangle is shit,
and that is easily half this film.
Well,
these films.
Yeah, so that's Twilight. Do you
think
you're gonna rewatch it?
Is
that our yearly watch? Twilight?
Oh yeah, that's gonna be right up there with Harry Potter and Die Hard.
Special podcast of you rewatched Harry Potter?
I've seen it a couple of times. Yeah. Okay, I don't rewatch it every year, but I've seen it a couple of times. I
rewatched Die Hard. That's a good fucking film.
That is a great film.
That's a good film. I can rewatch that film. I wish we watched Die Hard.
1 to 5, Jared.
No, 2's not that great.
I actually don't mind 2.
2's alright, but I won't lie. Last time I rewatched. Anyway,
yeah.
Fuck. Let's not turn into Die Hard podcast. Cool. So that was Twilight.
Thank God it's over.
Thanks for enduring the pain with us.
Mm.
We're in a lot more pain than you are right now, probably. So yeah, Twilight. It was heads up and downs.
No.
Let's not go back to it. I'm gonna end this.
Thanks for listening to The End of the Reel. If you know anyone else who is a fan of good bad movies, share this podcast around to them. Sharing is the best way to help promote our podcast.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye-bye.